The year was 2005. MySpace was the place to be. Low-rise jeans were cutting edge. And Green Day's Wake Me Up When September Ends was the earworm plaguing airwaves everywhere. I was freshly 21 and struggling to balance my party-loving lifestyle with grounding aspirations of getting into grad school. Late one fall night, while I was getting ready to start studying for my physics midterm that would commence in less than 8 hours, I heard my mom's special ringtone chime for the umpteenth time that day. Instead of letting it go to voicemail, again, I answered it. But it wasn't my mom on the other end. It was a police officer informing me that my mother was not injured per se, but she was being transported to a local hospital for an evaluation. Her car was damaged and illegally parked. If I didn't come remove the growling dog in the back seat, then animal control was going to by whatever means necessary. I started to shake. Where? Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania? No, California. Where are you? I'm in Davis. My best friend and roommate Becky caught the rising panic in my voice and expertly redirected me towards a functional action plan. Together we drove to the shopping center where my mom had been forced to abandon her car and her dog while she was whisked away in some dramatic ambulance ride, sirens blaring, swerving through traffic, or so I imagined. My subconscious was preconditioned to think of things that would really stir up my emotions, primed and ready to overreact. When we got there, I found out that my mom was the one who called the cops on herself. Wow, that cop is hot. You should get his number. Becky, not so quietly, semi-shouted to me in an unabashed attempt for him to hear. I involuntarily flushed red with embarrassment and quipped back something about handcuffs and billy clubs. Clowning around while everyone tried to clean up the carnage caused by my dysfunctional family felt less heavy for that second while I stood all raw and exposed waiting for the tow truck. Besides, in less than 24 hours, I was going on my first official date with Remy, a quasi-queer theater kid with impeccable manners. He spoke multiple languages, played the drums, and was double majoring in aeronautical engineering and dramatic arts. He even looked like the fanfic love child of Maverick and Iceman, born of sweaty, homoerotic, immaculate conception. And no one, not even my Hellraiser mother, was going to mess this up for me. My mom's pearl white Maxima was trashed. The front side passenger tire was just gone. The wheels rim that she likely drove on for who knows how many miles suffered a miniature fire so hot it dissolved the front side of the car into charred, twisted remains. There was all kinds of junk piled up in the back seats and spilling out of the trunk. Clothes, dishes, food. Mixed in with my mom's haphazard bug-out bag was several boxes of pictures of my family from my childhood. My mom had been living out of her car for months, bouncing between hotel rooms and her man friend's condo. They'd fight, she'd move out, they'd get back together, and the cycle would repeat. She was chemically dependent on alcohol, and he was her drinking buddy enabler. And that didn't jive with her whole, I'm an independent woman persona she would parade around. So from time to time, she would try to self-detox. Psychosis can erupt when the brain's signals start to sputter without their usual dose of dopamine. Ollie, the 70-pound Airedale my mom rescued from a poorly funded shelter when I was 16, seemed fine until I tried to get him out of her inoperable vehicle. My mom loved animals. Ollie was actually supposed to be my dog, but he bonded to her hard. Now she was so fucked up and out of her mind that her chronic neglect caused his hind legs to atrophy. He couldn't walk without his backside collapsing. Watching this innocent, exploited creature stay by her side until it nearly killed him lit up caustic rage inside of me, but I shoved it way down in a fireproof vault deep inside my core. Things were not safe yet. I couldn't lose my shit when there was still work to be done. He didn't seem to be in any pain, just incredibly weak from the lack of strenuous physical activity a dog of that breed demands. So Becky and I carefully carried him out of the wreckage and gently placed him into the back of my fire engine red Mustang. We drove to the hospital in Martinez, where the authorities admitted my mom to the psych ward. The unit was locked, and I wasn't allowed to see her. Instead, I was interrogated by a panel of physicians and psychiatrists. I spilled my guts about everything I could think of at hyperspeed, unraveling the past 10 years of physical violence and mental manipulation, detailing the relentless chaos that pushed me to my breaking point all but constantly. They offered sympathies, but were more acutely interested in the messages my mom left on my phone earlier that day about the little man who was sleeping in her car and refusing to leave. Her hallucination put something in her car's fuel tank, and that's why she was driving to fucking Pittsburgh, California, in the middle of the night. On the drive back to Davis, I started to feel like that little kid who was about to be in big, big trouble. Mom hated other people knowing her business. My stomach dropped. I asked Becky if she thought I had revealed too much. Dude, you said things that would get someone locked up in the loony bin for life. Her take no shit, even if it does harm, attitude was something I admired, envied even. By the time we got home, it was close to 4 a.m. I went on AOL Instant Messenger to see what anyone was up to, and fantasized about what I would write if I were writing my last away message. My most recent ex was online, so I did the only rational thing I knew how to do. I invited him over. The ex was well acquainted with my inability to separate myself from all my mama drama. For years, he had to sit on the sidelines and watch Hurricane Mom roll through every time her alcoholism worsened and my fixing her fixation consumed me. We'd been broken up for over 6 months, but would make out and fuck in the back of his SUV, reopening all those attachment wounds so that they couldn't properly heal. Well, I guess I'm going to be skipping that midterm now, I thought as I quietly led him down the hall to my bedroom. Like the good-hearted man he always claimed to be, he held me as I cried inconsolably. We kissed and cuddled for hours, but didn't have sex. Letting someone who had emotionally hurt me be physically inside me was a level of masochism I couldn't manage while my mother wound was still festering. When noon came and it was time for him to go, I begged him to leave through the window so Becky wouldn't know that we had been together. My desire to defend myself against her judgmental rants about moving on or having some self-respect had been depleted again by my mom's little joyride from hell. After I showered off the evidence of my overindulgence in seeking safety from someone who once loved me, I flipped a mental suppression switch to be able to carry on with the original plan of going on my date with Remy. A few numbing hours alone in silence after the ex exited through my bedroom window, Remy took me to a show starring some of his fellow performer friends. I fell in love with him even before he kissed me goodnight. When he asked if he could see me again, an overwhelming surge of all those feel-good chemicals flooded my brain. The thanks I got from my mom for rehabilitating her dog, fixing her car, and tidying up other loose ends, like, I don't know, informing her employer that she'd be out of the office due to be mentally unstable in a fucking hospital, was her saying that she never wanted to see me again. Her physical form failed her 6 years later. I was still there by her side until the bitter end. It took me at least another decade after her death to figure out how to live without her. I still protect all those boxes of pictures she's held onto, keeping the good memories of my family safe from becoming meaningless debris on the side of some absurd highway in the Bay. Thank you.
Tiffany Cooper, ladies and gentlemen. Tiffany Cooper.